Good evening. Welcome everybody. Welcome from all over the world. I saw some crazy things like South Africa in the chat, and looks like we got Hawaii and a few other things. Welcome to the Thinking and Results webinar here tonight. And we decided to put this on, myself and my business partners. So if you've been invited to watch this, myself and my business partners from around the world are putting this on to really educate people how to process information during these crazy times right now, but also how to process information just in general in life, right? It's thinking into results. Think about the tagline of that, thinking into results. So go ahead and chime in. One last time where you guys are at. I see we have South Africa. We have Glenn from Cambodia. We got Brazil. I am Pilar from Brazil. We got Chicago right here. Canadian Dad. I don't even know how to pronounce that one. Oregon, New Jersey. USA, Colorado, Canada, nice, nice, nice. International, Colorado, Utah, Denmark. What time is it in Denmark? What are they, they're either 6 hours ahead of us, I think. Michigan, Pennsylvania, awesome. Utah, awesome. Idaho, 3 o'clock. We got Calgary, Canada, Alberta, awesome, guys, awesome. I love it, love the deal here. So again, if you've been invited to this, somebody cares a lot about you, right? If you're watching the watch party, I think we have about, I don't even know how many, 50 watch parties going on around the world. So that should magnify our reach to about 100,000 people. And if you're watching this, it means one of my business partners has reached out to you and invited you to really take a look at how the world's wealthiest people think and act and operate, and more importantly, how to apply this into your lives, all right? So we're going to get going. It's going to be like drinking from a fire hose. And for those of you that registered, you're going to get the recording and a whole host of other things. We have different slides here tonight that are very informative that you're going to want. So if you registered for the Zoom, you're going to get the replays and all that stuff. And if you didn't register, get with the person who brought you. If you're watching a watch party, get with the person that's on that watch party. They can type in the chat and they can give you a link to register. All right, guys? So I always like to start some of our webinars with something that'll really catch your attention. And everybody has seen and understands the story of the fly, right? You've seen flies at your house, you know, buzzing on windows in the summer, trying to get out, trying to break through. I mean, take a good look at this picture. In this picture, right, you'll notice that about 12 inches below, the window's open. I want you to really think about this. This is what's happening right here and right now in the world. People they have blinders on, and all they see is the virus, the virus, the virus. They're not thinking anymore. They're in a reactive state. They're not responding. And they're really just in a reactive state, and just really their lives are kind of chaotic right now. So it's kind of like the fly, where they're just banging their head against the window, trying to break through the glass, which in this case is against physics, right? It's physically impossible, but yet people do this day in and day out. They try to work harder and harder. They try to use the same level of awareness to solve different problems, right? Now, when we shift our awareness, right? When we shift our awareness, and I want you guys to think about this, anything can happen. We can change everything. You're going to see here tonight how awareness is everything. And what's going on right now in the world looks something like this, right? And I don't mean this in a bad way. It's nobody's fault. We're just not taught any of this stuff in school. We're not taught how to be responsive when there's a big environmental change. And that's what's going on right now. There's a change in the environment. It's not good or bad or big or small. It just is. I really want you guys to think about this as you watch the webinar here tonight, because the masses right now are panicking instead of responding and looking for where the energy is flowing. So don't be the fly, right? You don't want to be one of these guys. You want to be like the 1%, and we're responding right now. There's a lot of good things that are actually happening in the world right now if you look for them, and we're going to focus on that. So I want to get you guys thinking again here, right? And why is it that 96% of the world's wealth is earned by 1% of the population? I really want you to think about this, because it's the same mindset right now that would deal with the virus or with health issues or with relationship issues or finance. But 96% of the world's wealth is earned by 1% of the people. I really want to get you guys thinking. And think about our elderly people, right? Why is it that 93% of the people can work for 40 years, even in this country, and then go to retire and have to work second jobs, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with working a second job in your retirement if you're doing it for the social aspect of it. But doing it for income, making minimum wage after 40 years. So it just tells you that what we're doing in society is not working on a global scale. And what we're here to do tonight is raise your level of awareness, pique your interest, right? If what I'm talking about here resonates with you, I want you to get with the person who invited you to the watch party and have a serious conversation. These are my business partners all over the world, and we're associates, and we're working in this material together. Right now, guys, none of this is our fault. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's not your parents' fault. We're simply not taught how to build wealth, how to be in a responsive state in schools, right? It's not the school's fault either. They're working in a broken system. It's 110 years old, right? So it's not the teacher's fault. I actually have the highest respect for educators because they're working in a broken system, right? We're not taught things like decision making. We're not taught self-image. We're not taught wealth building, and we're certainly not we're not taught how to respond when something like a global virus happens, right? But that's what we're going to teach you here tonight. We're going to teach you how to be in a calm, responsive state, to master the art of remaining calm. We're going to teach you a little bit about paradigms. All right, guys? So paradigms is what the next section's about, and it's just really a fancy word, right? A paradigm is a set of mental programs that have almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. You might want to take a screenshot of this one, right? Paradigms are mental programs stored in your subconscious mind that are causing all of your results. And right now, the program that is in most people's minds is panic. It's fear, doubt, worry, panic. You might have lost your job, your spouse might have lost your job, and people panic. Instead of saying, okay, what's the good? There has to be good in everything. There's a universal law of opposites, right? The law of polarity. There's actually no such thing as good or bad until you consciously perceive it as such. So if you did get laid off, well, what's the good? It's probably the universe saying, hey, you didn't like that job anyway. Let's start thinking and look for some opportunity here. All right, guys, so think of a paradigm as a program or an operating system in a computer. This is how I really want you to think about this. We have a conscious mind, we have a subconscious mind, and your paradigm is just a word that we use for all the programs that are stored in your subconscious mind, right? Like an operating system in a computer. And I want you to think about this, right? Your subconscious mind is like a data storage center. All it does is store programs. And it's 1,000,000 times more powerful than your conscious mind. This is why when somebody has the habit of smoking, it's so hard to quit, right? Smoking is not a physical addiction. It's a mental program stored in your subconscious mind. I'm going to give you guys some examples here. Walking is a program. When you were born a blank slate. All you could do is just sit there and goo goo gaga, drool a little bit and crap your diaper, but you couldn't walk. You didn't have the program called walking. I really want you guys to think about that. You did not have the program called walking, neither did I. But then your mentors, also known as your parents, through repetition, taught you a program called walking. They mimicked walking, they held your hands, and with repetition, you learned the program called walking, and that was stored in your subconscious mind, right? Smoking, like I just said, that's not a physical habit. It's a physical expression of a mental program. Let me say that one again a little slower. Smoking is a physical expression of a mental program. If you don't have the program in the subconscious, the body won't take action to do the thing, right? We have programs called breathing and eating, and like I said, smoking for people that have been subjected to that environment becomes a program, right? Really think about this. Well, wealth building is a program. Warren Buffett has programs called wealth building. Some people have programs called smoking. Some people have programs called watching 4 hours of TV a night. And there's nothing wrong with watching a little TV, everything in proportion, right? So what we're going to teach you here tonight is to unwire these programs and not be in a reactive state. Right now, our companies are building more wealth than ever, right? And most people are panicking. So think about that. What's the difference? Same environment, same world, same pandemic, but we're shifting our focus to places where people need service, right? And we're helping people on a mass scale. So we're building wealth even though most people are panicking. So we're going to teach you a lot about this. And I really want you to think about something, guys. Whatever's going on in your life, it's not your fault. Not unless you've been studying this material like we have. We're not taught this in school, so how would you guys know? How would I know? I didn't know for 40 years, right? I was rowing the same boat of ignorance for 40 years. But take a look at these kids, right? These kids didn't drive themselves to McDonald's. They didn't pay for the meal, right? Our environment is so, it shapes and molds us in the early years, right? Up until about age between 14 and 21. We are largely not in charge of what's going on. So there's no blame or no fault here, right? And when you look at my beautiful daughter, Madison, she has a different outcome, right? 23 years old, and her lifestyle is quite a bit different because she's been in a different environment. And I don't show you this picture of her in a jet to impress you. I show it to you to impress upon you. What's the difference? She didn't choose her environment, not up until real recently. The last 2 years, she's been choosing the reprogramming of her mind. But up until about age 19 or 20, it was me and her mom, right? For the most part, putting her in that environment. She went through the school system too, but we got her in front of this information at an early age, right? And now she's crushing life, earning our company 6 figures a month, and just really, really living a heavenly life. So what's the difference, right? It's programming. And that's what we're going to teach you here tonight. The science of wealth building, the science of staying calm, even though there's an environmental stimulus. It's all just awareness and understanding, right? And I want to give you a little bit about the history of the content. You can see me here pictured with my mentor, Bob Proctor. And Bob is arguably the world's foremost leader in the wealth mindset. He's been studying for a good part of 60 years come this July. So I want you to think about that. He's the world's leading expert in what we're teaching here. So none of what I'm going to share with you is my opinion, right? It's science. It's the science of how the world's wealthiest people think and act and operate. It's these people we're going to show you have made it through the Great Depression, right? So the history of the content goes all the way back to Andrew Carnegie, and even before that. In the late 1800s, he was the world's first recorded billionaire, the United States Steel Corporation, and Andrew Carnegie mentored a young Napoleon Hill. Many of you know the book Think and Grow Rich, or if you don't, you want to take a screenshot of this and get it. That book has made more millionaires and billionaires than any other publication in history, with maybe the exception of the Bible. So this material has been brought forward from generation to generation, but it's just not widespread. It's not taught in school, right? And Napoleon Hill mentored Earl Nightingale, right? And if you don't know Earl Nightingale, he was around in the 50s and 60s, and he was broadcasting this information around the world, right? Now, Earl Nightingale mentored my mentor, Bob Proctor, and he's the one that's really carrying the torch, bringing it forward. And Bob is just, it's hard to explain. It's like hanging out with Yoda. He's so wise. He's been studying the mind as it relates to wealth building for 60 years. I mean, this guy has not needed money in 6 decades. I want you to think about that. He used the information that we're going to show you here tonight to become a millionaire before age 30, when $1 million was a lot of money back in the 60s, multimillionaire, right? So I want you to think about this. None of this is my opinion. It's not my content. I've just been a really, really good student. And guys, you're going to see here, I talk a lot about wealth, so I want to just straighten something out right now. Wealth is not money. All right, so when I say wealth, don't think that this is a money webinar. What we want to do is educate you about the whole human experience. Wealth is spirituality. It's your physical fitness. It's your relationship. It's love. It's harmony. It's understanding. And yes, finances is a piece of wealth, but it's actually the easiest piece to fix or to grow, to enhance. And what we found is if you change somebody's capability of earning and you alleviate the pressures of finance, almost everything gets better. Marriages get better. Physical fitness gets better. You get more time to spend with your family. So when we alter people's wealth, when we show them how to, go from taking their yearly salary to a monthly salary, it changes things. So don't overestimate or don't have a bad association with money, because money is just a magnifier. All right, guys, so myself and the people that invited you to this watch party, we're a team of people working all over the world. We're consultants. We are versed in this content, and we can help you guys out by getting on some strategy sessions. All right, guys, so we're going to get a little bit into the universal laws that are controlling all of our results. Now, when I talk about universal laws, sometimes we lose people. They think it's ethereal. They think, oh, what is this, unicorns and rainbows? No, I mean, electricity is a universal law. Gravity is a universal law, right? Magnetism, these are all universal laws that none of you can explain, but you're in harmony with them, right? So there's a universal law of vibration. It states that everything in the universe is in motion. There's the law of the perpetual transmutation of energy. This is how an acorn turns into an oak tree and then goes back, and the tree dies and turns back into the soil, dust, air, gas, and ether, right? Number 3 is the law of polarity, the law of opposites. Like I said, there's no such thing as big or small. There's no such thing as good or bad. There's only conscious awareness. You can't have light without darkness. You couldn't be inside if there wasn't an outside. We have the law of rhythms, right? This is winter, spring, summer, fall. It never goes winter, winter, summer, winter, right? We have universal law of rhythms, that we are in harmony with. But if we don't know about this stuff, it can have a very adverse effect on us. We have the law of gender, right? Everything in the universe has a gender. We have the universal law of relativity. I'm going to highlight this one quite a few times. Every time you hear me say there's no such thing as big or small, that's the law of relativity. All there is relativity and conscious awareness. All right, guys? And then we have the law of gestation, which decrees that every seed has a gestation period. I think a carrot is about 80 days. A human baby is about 280 days. And every thought in your mind that turns into a physical thing has a gestation period, right? So thoughts become things. Negative thoughts become physically depressed people. Positive thoughts become like Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, people that are creating around the world, right? So guys, we're going to hone in a little bit here. But first of all, again, my job here is to really break down your defenses. I'm not asking you to just blindly believe me here. I want to prove to you some things, right? And we talk about these universal laws. There's a universal law of gravity, and nobody here can explain it. The most erudite physicist in the world cannot explain gravity, but we're in harmony with it. Think about this. Really think, right? You don't want to just watch this webinar and zone out. Really think about this. How are we flying all over the world at 600 miles an hour in 747s? Because we don't know anything about gravity, but we're in harmony with it. We don't know anything about electricity either, but we're in harmony with it. So anytime I talk about getting in harmony with the laws of creation, this is what I want you to think about. We want to get in harmony with the law of vibration if you want to create. And if you want a calm, stress-free body, you want to understand this stuff. See, stress becomes a choice. You don't have to stress, just people do because they're ignorant. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Ignorance just means not knowing. Guys, I'm largely ignorant about almost everything except the wealth mindset, creating companies, and maybe a few other things. So no judgment here, right, guys? So I want to explain a little bit about the universal law of vibration, because this is what people talk about attraction, but they don't know what it is. The law of attraction. I'm a law of attraction expert, but they don't even know what it is. The law of attraction responds to vibration. In human beings, we are in a vibratory state. Your skin, your fingernails, your hair, your bone, right? Your thoughts, your thought energy is a very high vibrational state. So in order to give you an example of the law of attraction, I always use the acorn in the oak tree, right? If you take an acorn and look at it under a microscope, you'll see that it's at a low vibration. It appears to be solid, but if you look at it under a microscope, you'll see that it's at a very low rate of vibration. The subatomic particles and molecules are vibrating, they're moving, right? This is just high school science. Now, if I take the acorn and I put it in the right environment, or I shouldn't say the right environment, if I put it in an environment that is conducive to the growth of the acorn, it will start to grow by the laws of God and nature. And what you'll see happen, if you were looking under a microscope, if we put this in a little bit of soil in the right temperature, a little bit of water and minerals and nutrients, you'll see subatomic particles from all over around that acorn start to dance towards the acorn, right? Minerals and water and everything it needs to become the higher, fuller expression of itself, right? So vibration is what causes attraction. As the vibration of the acorn increases because it's in an environment, it starts to attract everything that it's in harmony with to become the higher, fuller expression of itself. Does that make sense, guys? Type a 1 in the chat if that's making sense. Let me just check the chat here. Make sure nobody's sleeping. Excuse me. We got Maddie. Okay, there we go. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Guys, if you're in a watch party, let's make this thing alive. Type a 1 in the watch party chat if this is resonating, because human beings, if we put you in the right mental environment, you will become the higher, fuller expression of yourself. If I take a brand new baby and put it in a crime-ridden section of New York City where there's gang violence and drugs and poverty, it's going to grow up one way. Same baby, if I took that baby and left it with Oprah Winfrey, it's going to grow up a different way. Make sense, guys? So these are not laws of opinion. These are laws of God and the universe. And vibration is something that you can't escape it, right? Where everything is vibrating, you're vibrating, your bone, your skins, your thoughts. So it's the mental environment. And we're going to talk more about this, guys. All right, so you want to get in harmony with the universal law of vibration, which is your thought energy. And when we work with somebody in the Thinking and the Results program, what we're actually doing is we're putting you in the mental environment of millionaires and billionaires for 6 months. Think about that. If I had taken you as a baby and putting you with Warren Buffett, right? You grew up with Warren Buffett as your dad. Now, I don't know Warren personally. I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy, but at least financially, where do you think you would be right now? Right? So environment is everything. And that's what we do in the Thinking and the Results program, is we work with you for 6 months, raising your vibration, putting you in the mental environment of the world's wealthiest people. And again, guys, ignoring these laws, right? Ignoring these universal laws, you're not going to get to the top of a building and jump off and ignore the universal law of gravity. So what do you think's happening from ignorance of the universal law of vibration or the law of cause and effect? Everything has a cause and effect. Matter of fact, we are living the effects of yesterday's causes. Wouldn't you like to know what those causes were so you could change the effects of tomorrow? That's exactly what we're doing in the Thinking and Results program, guys. So this is the science of wealth building. And I'm going to show you in this next section here how the 1% thinks, how the 1% thinks. All right, guys. And again, I was rolling the same boat of ignorance. So there's no judgment here. I'm not any better or any worse. I'm just more aware. And Bob is very aware. So this is how we're born. And this is the environment we're in, right? The typical masses, almost everybody you probably know, everybody around you, your parents, everybody, right? We're born and we look at our results. We look at the report card. And it starts with report cards in grade school. We look at a report card and say, you're a C student. The report card is not a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of what you were thinking 3 months ago, or not thinking. Or maybe you were bored because they were trying to jam geometry down your throat and you're not interested in geometry, right? So we're programmed right from school to look at our results. Some of you guys looking at your bank accounts, you're looking at your body, you're looking at your current relationships, and you're using those results to cause your thinking. And again, this is not your fault. This is how you're programmed. We're using results to cause thinking. Right? Now, thinking causes feelings in the body. Right? Now, when I say the word feeling, what I want you to understand is feeling is a word that we made up to describe the conscious awareness of the vibration you're in. I really want you to think about this one, guys. When I say I feel sad, what I'm saying is I'm consciously aware that I'm in a low vibration. And if I say I'm feeling excited, what I'm saying is I'm consciously aware I'm in a high vibration. Does that make sense, guys? Right now, I am in an insanely high vibration. That's why my body's moving like this. That's why my tonalities are up. And that's why my voice is projecting and coming at you guys probably like a fire hose, right? So that's vibration. And you guys have all seen this. You know people that are operating on a high frequency. They're usually the wealthy people, the athletes, they're the people that are going after it. They wake up at 4, they charge after it. They have the good relationships. That's just vibration, right? So this is looking at our results to cause our thinking, causes the feelings or the vibrations, and those vibrations cause our body to move into action or a lack of action. This is also called procrastination. So take a look at this, guys. Now, I could teach this to a 5-year-old, right? Looking at your results to cause your thinking is like looking backwards to run a marathon. It's like working with ice cubes to get warm. You can't look at your current results to cause your future, right? Your future effects. What you want to do is start to think like the 1%, and you can do it right here starting tonight. This is not hard to understand, right? What we do, the 1%, we use new thinking. Every morning, my obsession right now is 10 million a month through multiple revenue sources and profit by the end of this year through multiple revenue sources, right? So that's not a big goal or a small goal. It's just what I want. It's new thinking, right? My ultimate goal is $21 billion in net worth and assets through multiple companies. And again, that's not big or small. It just is. But when I wake up, number one, I wake up happy and enthusiastic because those are choices. I also put my earbuds in and I listen to all of the things that I'm accomplishing and going to accomplish. So I brainwash myself to be in a high vibration. And this new thinking, these new thoughts cause me to be in a very high vibration every single day, every single morning, every single night. This is the routine. So these new feelings have to, by law, not by opinion, they have to, by law, cause new actions. Right? Higher vibration causes your body to move. It causes you to pick up the phone. It causes you to prospect. It causes your tonalities to change. It causes your language to change, right? And these new actions are going to cause new results. They're going to cause you to build new businesses. They're going to cause you to have better relationships. They're going to cause you to get to the gym. They're going to cause you to do a whole host of things that you've been wanting to do if we can start with the new thinking. Now, guys, type a 1 in the chat here if this makes sense. Take a look at this. This is not hard to understand, is it? Right? All I'm doing is shifting you guys 90 degrees out of phase. You can't start with the results. That's ass backwards. You've got to start with the new thinking. You've got to rewire your system and thinking. And I promise you things change very, very fast across the board when you start to understand and think like the 1%. If you want to have results like the 1%, you got to think like the 1%. All right, guys. Now, what we're going to talk about here is understanding the mind a little bit. Understanding the mind a little bit. And what I want you to do here is play along with me. Type in the chat, type in the watch parties at home, whatever you guys are doing. What do you guys think the mind looks like? Just take whatever comes to your mind. Type in the chat, type in the chats at home, type in the watch parties. What is it that you guys think the mind looks like? The brain. Anybody else? Spaghetti. We got all kinds of things. Electric, beehive, maze, clutter, energy. Energy's close. A heck of a computer. That's a good one. Big bag of water. As vast as the universe. That one's really close. right? Together, movement. I like that. Awesome. CPU, I like that. Yeah, guys, your mind is no more your brain than your fingernail or your skin. Your brain is an organ. Most people think the mind is the brain, right? Your brain is an electronic switching station. Your heart is a pump. All your brain does is send and receive signals. Now, I am overly simplifying this, so don't be a hater in the chat. This is not a psychology lesson. But by and large, the brain is an electronic switching station. It sends and receives signals to and through your body, to and through the universe, to and through each other, right? So the mind is movement. It's energy. It's consciousness. It's God. It's energy. It depends if you believe in science or religion, even though they're the exact same thing through different lenses. All right, guys. Now, since we don't know what the brain looks like, we have confusion. How do you change something if you don't know what it looks like? Right? How do we change something if we don't know what it looks like? So back in the 1930s, Dr. Thurman Fleet drew this little guy here. It's called the stick man, and this gives you a graphical representation of the mind. Right? The larger circle represents the mind, and the lower circle represents the body. And the reason that is because the body is an instrument of the mind. I'm going to say that again. Your body is an instrument of your mind. You are not your body. You live in your body. You are a spirit that has an intellect expressing in the physical, having a physical experience. All right, guys? You moved into your body when you're born, and you'll move out when you're done, but it's just a transmutation of energy, just like an acorn into an oak tree. Like, where did the acorn come from? It came from the ether. Well, that's where you came from too. That's a whole different seminar, guys, but what we're showing you here is how to rewire your subconscious thinking. Now, again, this is the way you're programmed, right? We're born in ignorance, and most people stay in ignorance for their entire life and then just die. And it's unfortunate because we can teach this at the grade school level, right? We're programmed to have worry and doubt in the conscious mind. And when you have worry and doubt in the conscious mind, it produces negative thinking, and it produces the emotion of fear in the subconscious mind. All right, guys? Now, fear is an illusion. It's a vibration. It's an emotion. It doesn't exist until you put energy towards it. All right? So I want you to really think about that, because fear has to, by law, express to and through the body and create the physical form of anxiety. All right, guys? So I want you to think about that. If anybody here has anxiety, this is what's going on. It's the physical expression of the worry and the doubt. It's also a transmutation of energy. All right, guys? So I want you to think about that. Anxiety expresses and it forms procrastination. All right, so if you're procrastinating, this is why. This is why. Procrastination comes from anxiety because we don't like how anxiety feels, right? We don't like the feeling of anxiety. So because we don't like the feeling, it causes us to procrastinate. All right, guys, so I want you to really think about this. If anybody here is struggling with procrastination, this is what's going on. All right, guys, let me just check something real quick. All right. All systems go. Just double checking here because we're doing a bunch of different Instagrams and lives and all kinds of stuff. So anxiety leads to procrastination. Now, procrastination leads to depression. Now, the reason is we're born creators, right? We're born creators. We're born to create from the second we're born to the minute we die. So if we're not in a creative state, it's depressing. It's a low vibration. It's the opposite of what you were born to do. All right, guys, really think about this. Now, if anybody here fears public speaking, this is what's going on. You want to public speak, right? Public speaking is a 7-figure superpower. You go to do it and you get anxiety and it doesn't feel good. It's a knot in your stomach. It might even be cold sweats and chest palpitations. So it's easier to retreat, go sit on a couch, turn on the TV and watch other people live their dreams than it is to push through the terror barrier, get out there and do the speech, right? But then you don't do the speech, you don't do the thing, you don't take the action, and you're home kicking yourself, and it forms depression, right? Because we're not creating. So depression forms a body that's dis-ease, right? When we say that, we want to hyphenate that. Disease is a body not at ease, it's dis-ease. All right, guys, so type a 1 in the chat if this is resonating, if this is making sense. Make sure everybody's awake here. Good. Awesome. All right, I love it. So what we're going to teach you guys here is how to operate from the side of knowledge. And knowledge is the opposite of ignorance. It comes through studying and understanding, right? It generates positive thinking. When we understand something, we don't fear it, right? We don't fear what we understand. You don't fear getting dressed, but you might fear earning $100,000 a month. You might fear the coronavirus. You might fear all kinds of things, but it comes from ignorance, right? Now, when we have study and understanding, it produces faith. Faith is a vibration, it's a frequency, it's an emotion, it's the opposite of fear, right? fear and faith are opposite sides of the same thing. They're not two different things. They're opposite sides of the same thing. I want you to think about a coin. Fear is on one side, faith is on the other side. You cannot look at both sides of the coin at the same time, right? You can't have fear and faith at the same time either. You're either in a fear-based vibration or you're in a faith-based vibration at all times. What we want to do is give you understanding, because this is choice, all right? Now, faith produces well-being. It produces calmness. It produces acceleration, which is a body taking massive action in motion, right? And this produces a body that is at ease. All right, guys, so take a look at what's going on right now in the world. Almost everybody is in the left side of this equation. Worry and doubt, negative thinking. They fear getting this disease, so they actually attract it. A low vibration will attract low vibrating things. High vibration attracts high vibrating things. Guys, I don't get sick. I don't think about getting sick, right? So why would I? Almost everybody fears getting sick. They fear poverty. They fear debt. So they cause these things to happen. And this is by law, not by opinion. When you learn to get on the right side of this equation, everything in your universe changes, right? These are the laws of physics and science. All right, guys, so this is another good one to screenshot. For those of you that registered, we're going to be sending you this PDF here so you can put it on your fridge. You can put it on your nightstand, right? So you go to bed in a faith-based mindset. You condition your mind, all right, guys? So, guys, type a 1 in the chat here if this is resonating. And more importantly, I want you to play along with me here. Take a look at this picture, right? Take a look at this picture and comment in the chat or comment on the Facebook, comment on the watch party. What does this look like to you guys? What does this represent to you guys? Take a look at this picture and let me know what this looks like to you guys. Fear, everything, chaos, mental disorder, all kinds of stuff, right? Confusion, stress, painful chaos, overwhelm, confused. Yeah, all those things. Dis-ease, certainly. Exactly, guys. I found this picture, and to me, this represented fear. This represented doubt. It represented worry, chaos. Like, take a look at this picture. This is how most people are operating right now. How could you possibly ever solve any kind of a problem in this state? Right? Right now, we want to be calm in problem-solving mode. Right? We want to be the anchor. We want to be the pillar. We want to be just calm. Nothing is good or bad. It just is. When you're in a calm state, you can figure things out, and I'll prove it to you. Take a look at these people here. Take a look at these people here and type in the chat, what does this look like to you guys? What does these pictures represent to you guys? Take a look at this, comment in the chat. Determination, that's a good one. Anything else? What do you guys think? Calm, confidence, peace and joy. I don't know if Steve Jobs had peace, but he was certainly a visionary. Happy? Maybe. I know some of these guys are happy. I don't think Steve Jobs was. He was a very confused dude. Accomplishment. Yeah, this is what faith looks like, right? I don't know these people personally. I do plan on meeting Elon and Bill Gates and Oprah, and I'll meet Steve at some point when I move on here. But this represents faith. These people don't wonder if they're going to create. They're visionaries. They get an image in their mind, in their conscious mind. They get it into their subconscious because it's super saturated. They have a healthy obsession through repetition. Then their body moves into action to create the thought that's in their mind. Guys, this is very, very easy. It's so easy that most people miss it. Now, what you do need to do is learn how to master your thoughts in your mind, and that's why we have the Thinking and Results program, and you can get with the person that invited you to this webinar and have a strategy session. They'll explain exactly how this works. They can literally coach you from where you are to anywhere that you decide you want to be. That may sound like a big statement, but it's just physics and science. It's not opinion. If you follow certain things in a certain way, if you follow a program and have a mentor, you can literally reshape your entire universe. All right, guys, and that's what we're here to do tonight. We're here to get the juices flowing, right? Everybody's been kind of quarantined, freaking out, and doing all kinds of weird stuff. We want to raise your level of awareness. We want to get you thinking. I want you to look back at this virus and say, that was the pivotal turning point in my life because I watched this webinar and I actually learned how to think like the world's wealthiest people. It was the turning point in my life where I made a decision and I had a conversation with someone and I made a decision to learn, to take 6 months to learn how to think and act and operate like the world's wealthiest people. All right, guys, so the next section here, we're going to go into levels of awareness, and everything is levels of awareness, right? We're talking about vibration. We're talking about paradigms. The next thing we got to understand is that everything is on frequencies and everything is just levels of awareness. There's no such thing as good or bad or big or small. There's just levels of awareness. All right, $50,000 a year is not big or small. It's just a level of awareness. Nobody's earning $50,000 a year because they want to earn $50,000 a year. They're earning 50 grand a year because that's what they're aware of how to do. Does that make sense, guys? Type a 7 in the chat if that makes sense. Nobody's earning 50K a year or a month or a week because that's what they want. They're earning that because that's what they're aware of how to earn. So 100,000, 250,000 a year, that isn't big or small. It just is. And if you want to go from 50,000 in a year to 250,000 a year, then you're going to want to get on a strategy session and talk to somebody that knows how to show you how to do that, right? It's just a level of awareness. If you follow a mentor, you follow a system, you'll raise your level of awareness to operate on the level of 250,000 a year. All right, guys? So 500,000 a year, $1 million a year. These are not big or small numbers. They're just numbers. 5 million a year or 5 million a month. One of my clients I'm working with right now, his short-term goal is 5 million a month, and he's doing about close to 100,000 a month now. And the first thing I told him is you got to understand that's not big or small. It just is. It's just a frequency. The 5 million a month is already here. The money's here. He's not a vibrational match for the money. You guys see the difference? When you raise your vibrations, the people, places, things, and circumstances and thoughts will come to you to generate the result of what you're talking about. All right, guys? So this is what happens through the constant spaced repetition of studying and taking action. You got to study and take action, study and take action, study and take action. This is what happens. Take a look at the chart. Slowly but surely, you will figure it out. You're designed to figure it out. And you'll raise your level of awareness and you'll get towards your goal. This is how people earn $1 million in a month, $1 million in a day, right? Warren Buffett earns about 37 million a day and getting bigger and bigger, right? That's just a level of awareness. Now, here's the bitch of it, guys, right? You could work with one of my colleagues here. You can go through this program. You can hit your goals. And this is where you're going to realize that you could have set your goal here. Guys, there's no such thing as big or small. The earth is not big or small. There's just conscious awareness. It's not until you compare it to something through the law of relativity. When you compare the earth to a golf ball or the universe, now you start to get a sense of, okay, the earth is big compared to a golf ball, but you can't even see it in the universe. That's why I'm saying 100,000 a month is not big or small. It's just your opinion, your conscious awareness. And if you're putting the 100 grand a month way out there, like it's this unreachable thing, then guess what? We become what we think. It will be an unreachable thing. But if you get with somebody that can hold your hand through a 6-month process, they can literally show you how to minimize things. 100K a month is not a big amount or a small amount. It's just an amount. Does that make sense, guys? Type a 1 in the chat if this is resonating. I know the first time I saw this information, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. This is so simple. I could teach it to a 5th grader. It's just not taught in school. Right now, there is a process to this because whatever age you are, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, you have decades of virus code programming, right? So we have to unwire this. We have to rewire that operating system. And that's why you need a mentor and a system to do it. So guys, play along with me here again. I'm asking you guys to play along with me a lot. Whether you're watching anywhere in the world on a Facebook watch party or here in the chat, I want you to tell me what this is. Take a look at the picture and tell me what this is. It's a baby. Anybody else? Curiosity. Ooh, that's a new one. A sub? Potential? You. I like that one. Wide open. Yeah, exactly. Guys, this is you. This is you at your current level of awareness. This isn't bad or good. It's just you at your current level of awareness. Take your income per month, and then tell me how close to 5 million a month it is. And this is not, there's no judgment here. I'm just saying this is you at your current level of awareness. This was me before I started studying this content. It's not good or bad. It just is. It really highlights something here. Because take a look at this example, right? Here you are again, brand new little baby, just starting to become aware. You're on the Thinking and Results webinar. You're starting to, like, the vibrations are happening. You're starting to fire some synapses here. You're like, oh my God, this stuff makes sense, right? Take a brand new baby, 2 months old, 3 months old, and we say, okay, little baby, here's your clothes. We put the clothes next to the baby, and we say, have bed, get yourself dressed, right? Think about this. Really think about this. The baby is not aware of how to even move its arms and legs. It might eat the clothes or drool on them or something, but it's not aware. Matter of fact, we would actually use the word impossible to say that that baby is going to put those clothes on. Like 1,000 times out of 1,000, we could sit there and watch, and it'll never happen. It's impossible. The baby is not aware of how to put the clothes on. Now, guys, I'm guessing, and I'm just guessing because I can't see you all, I'm guessing everybody here around the world has your clothes on. I don't think you're sitting here naked watching me on this webinar, right? I think that you're at the level of awareness where you figured out how to put your clothes on. Well, guess what? Getting to 100,000 a month is no different. There's no difference. Consciously, you might reject that. Subconsciously, no difference. They're just programs, and you just don't have the program yet. Just like this little baby doesn't have the program of putting the clothes on. Make sense, guys? Does that resonate? Type a 1 in the chat if that's resonating. I think we got some pretty sharp people here around the world. Bunch of ones, 111s. Awesome, awesome. Good. When I explain this, I think it makes sense. Now, guys, play along with me again here. Here we go again. Type in the chat, what do you think this is? Obviously, it's a baby, but what does this represent? What does this look like? Put a comment in the chat. What does this look like to you guys? Dinner, messy, having fun. That's true. Joy, fun. Disorganized mess, chaos. I love it. Happy. Learning. There's something interesting. Letting go. Right? Guys, no, this is still you. This is still you, right? This is you trying new things. Think about this. This is you trying new things. Maybe you started a new business. Maybe you started a home-based business because you got laid off. Maybe it's a new relationship. Maybe you decided to go to the gym. Maybe you decided a new diet. Anything that you guys are trying, whatever it is, this is you when you first start to try it. But here's the difference. The brand new baby doesn't have an ego. It doesn't have an opinion. It doesn't have paradigms. It doesn't care what it looks like. It doesn't care what you think or I think. Now, this baby is, I'll use the word failing here, but it's really not failing. There's not 1 ounce of food in the baby's mouth. Take a look at the baby's mouth. There's 0 food in the mouth, but it's having a blast figuring it out. This is what most adults miss. Guys, it's about the journey. It's not about the 100K a month. That's the result. That's the end. That's the reward. It's about the journey. It's about the trials and tribulations. It's about the people you meet. It's all about the journey. The 100K a month, I promise you, when you get there, it's going to be like, well, now what? What's next? You're going to have to set some new goals. All right, guys, so here's the last thing I want to say to you guys. It's not your fault. It's not the baby's fault. You wouldn't yell at the baby right now. You wouldn't be like, why are you failing so miserably? You wouldn't beat yourself up, right? We do this to ourselves. The guilt, we have regrets. We have guilt and just all kinds of stuff. It's negative energy in the wrong direction. See, you can't get to 100 grand a month and have fear, doubt, and worry and rejection and be worried about this stuff. They're two polar opposites. It's against the universal laws of nature. So guys, let yourself off the hook. Wherever you are, whatever's going on around the world, it's not your fault. But from here on in, and Bob hit me in the gut with this one, right? There's a difference between ignorance and stupidity. From this point in, you're going to have a decision to make. Ignorance is not knowing. Stupidity is knowing and not taking action. All right, and either way, you're going to have a choice here tonight. And Bob punched me in the gut with that one. I'm like, okay, Bob, I get it. All right, guys, so here you are again, brand new little baby. And what we're talking about here is a transmutation of energy. Again, I'm going to hit you so many different ways with this so it makes sense. Warren Buffett started out the same way as you did. Think about that. Same way as you did. But what happened over time, right? Study, awareness, action. You got to try stuff. You can't just study. Not much will happen, right? You got to put it into action. You got to have faith. You can't wonder if things are going to work. You can't have fear, doubt, and worry. That's like turning a light switch off and expecting the light to be on. It's against physics. Does that make sense, guys? We transmute energy. So the dominant thoughts in your mind is what's going to reproduce. And that's why we need coaches. I need coaches. Everybody needs coaches. I need a system. And then it's over time, you raise that level of awareness, and then at one point, you'll understand eventually that I am. And that's a whole nother seminar. All right, guys? So we're going to get into the science of wealth building again. We're going to talk a little bit about mindset. Right? Mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. 95% of what you guys are trying to do is mindset. And I'm going to prove it. See, I don't just spit these things out. I'm going to prove it. All right, guys? And it's only 5% what you're doing. I can show you how to make $1 million a month weaving baskets and marketing them all over the globe using the internet. right? I'm not saying that to be braggadocious. It's just true. It is, right? I mean, people are earning millions of dollars a month on Instagram, just being influencers, posting stuff. So there's no shortage of money. There's just a lack of awareness and distribution. All right, so wealth is 95% mindset, right? And 5% what you do. I want you to think about the New York Stock Exchange, right? Because people can be stock traders on the New York Stock Exchange, or they can be stock traders. Think about that, right? They can be stock traders like the oceans of stock traders with a low mindset, or they could be like Warren Buffett. It's the same industry, different mindset. All right, guys, people can be in real estate. We can be in real estate, or we can be in real estate like Grant Cardone. Same industry, different mindset. They're starting to resonate, guys. I'm going to keep going with these till it sinks in. If you're in network marketing, you could be a network marketer like 140 million other network marketers globally, or you could be a network marketer like my boy Alex Morton, right? Now, Alex studies with Bob one-on-one. He teaches this stuff as well. And I'm not going to disclose his income here, but it's multiple 7 figures a month. All right. And I think he's still under age 30. Very sharp dude. And Grant Cardone, same thing, right? You can be in real estate or you can be in real estate. So the difference is not what you do. It's 95% mindset, guys. Does that make sense? Does that resonate, guys? Type a 1 in the chat if that resonates. It's not what you do. It's your level and awareness in what you're doing. Everything is mindset. And the program, Thinking into Results, is a mindset program. It's not a real estate program. It's not a network marketing program. It's not a John Maxwell program. It's not a Tony Robbins program. It's a foundational program. Conscious mind, subconscious mind, body, getting you in harmony with the laws of creation. It's physics and science. If you get in harmony, you will create at a very high level. All right, guys, the only question is, do you want to create at a high level? That's something you guys got to answer. All right, guys, so I'm going to go over some income strategies here. This is sort of the mechanical part of the seminar. And my colleagues around the world that brought you to the seminar, they can show you multiple revenue stream strategy. It's what we teach, right? It's at a high awareness. And when we talk about revenue streams, I'm going to talk about M1, M2, and M3 revenue streams, right? So an M1 revenue stream is like roofing or plumbing or being a lawyer or a doctor, right? It's hourly work. And there's nothing wrong with hourly work, but it's a horrible way to make money. There's no leverage. You'll never build wealth of any significance doing hourly work, right? And I'm not beating anybody up here. I was an hourly worker for the first up until age, I don't know, 28, 29, right? I was a mechanical engineer. I was an architect. I've been a builder. I've had my own companies where it became M2 strategies. I'm going to go over that. But hourly income, you can't build wealth that way. It's impossible, right? School teachers, again, I love and respect school teachers, but you can't build wealth that way, right? You can build income and then do things with it that will create wealth, but this is M1 income. And even a doctor or a lawyer, a surgeon, even surgeons, $500,000 a year, it's still a horrible way to earn wealth, to build wealth, right? Even a $500,000 a year. I know 20-year-old network marketers that make that in a month because they understand leverage. They understand M3 income, right? And again, I'm not beating anybody up. I'm not saying you want to get to $500,000 a month. I'm saying if you want to, here's the path. You see the difference? And again, I have the highest respect, especially now. My God, the medical world, love and respect for the medical world. I mean, the action that's being taken right now is just unprecedented. So if you want to be a doctor because you love being a doctor and you love humans, not because you want to earn a lot of money, because it's not a good way to earn money. If you want to be a teacher, become a teacher for the humanity of it, but not for the income, because it's not a good way to earn money. Does that make sense, guys? So I'm going to show you some other strategies here. M2 income, right? This is where you start to take some money. I know a lot of surgeons, I have colleagues that have taken that money and invested it. Now that's M2 income. When you take a chunk of money and you put it to work, now your money's working for you. There's only about 5% of the population in the world that understands M2 income. 95% of the world is just M1 workers, and they're feeding the rest of the world. That's why 96% of the wealth is earned by 1% of the population. Guys, I don't make this stuff up. If this whole system was working, going through school, then 93% of the people would be millionaires at retirement, and only 7% of the people would be struggling, right? So I don't want you to be part of that 93%. We want to get you over to at least the 3%. And that's why I want to teach you some strategies here, right? So investing is M2 income. Real estate, if you own some real estate, two family, three family, things of that nature, that's an M2 strategy. And the reason why it's M2 is because you still have to work. Now you could have 100 units, but if you're renting them, if you're doing the maintenance, if you can't leave for a year and have that up and running, it's still an M2 strategy. Now this is a good strategy. It's a good way to get to M3 because eventually, again, you could be like some of these guys that have M3 strategies. Both of these gentlemen have high-level M3 strategies. Grant Cardone is in real estate. He's got over 11 million a month coming in from, I think, $1 billion in properties. And Alex, same thing, multiple 7 figures a month through a massive network marketing company that he's built. So there's all kinds of ways to earn M3 income. And the people, my colleagues around the world that invited you to this webinar, they can show you how to do this, right? They can show you how to get in harmony with stuff and understand so you can learn to create on a high level. All right, guys? So those are the 3 different strategies that are available to you. And I want you to really think about this one. If you haven't seen TikTok, you got to see TikTok. This is the latest social media craze. And there's already people on TikTok that are earning multiple millions a month. My daughter told me there's these 2 girls, they're 15 and 17 years old. They're some of the first people on TikTok. They have millions and millions of followers. They're getting paid over $40,000 per post when they make reference to a product. TikTok, all right, guys? There is millions of ways to earn money. The only thing you might be lacking is the awareness on how to do it. Does that make sense, guys? Type a 1 in the chat. I'm not saying you want to be the next TikTok craze, but me and my daughter did one. It was pretty cool. Not a bad thing to do with your offspring. So that's M3 strategies too, guys. Again, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channels. I know one kid's making 60 million a month, I believe, because he's playing videos on YouTube. So there's all kinds of ways to earn money. And if you want to raise your level of awareness, what you're going to want to do is get with the person who brought you and enter into a program called Thinking into Results. It's the same program that brought my construction company from $1 million to 10 million in 12 months. It's the same thing that gave me multiple companies. That's why I'm a CEO of a software company. It's what led me to have the goal of $21 billion in net worth and assets. And you guys can do the same thing. I mean, look at the title of this, Thinking into Results. See, most people are not thinking into results, right? They have the chaos, the fear, the doubt, the lack, the worry, the debt, the poor health, excuse me. And that is a result. Right? So guys, we all have mentors. We all have mentors. Anybody that creates at a high level has mentors. And what I'm going to go through is I'm going to go through very quickly what the Thinking the Results program is so you can get a good idea. We have 12 lessons over a 6-month period. And the first lesson is goal setting, the science of goal setting. The only reason I never got to 10 million until age 43 is I never set a damn goal to get to 10 million. I'd never set a goal. It seemed too big. As soon as I set the goal, I started moving towards it using these lessons. That's why at age 43, I went from 1 million to 10 million in 12 months. I set a goal and I moved into action, right? There's a science of goal setting. Most of you are setting goals based on what you think you can get instead of what you want. And what you think you can get is very limited. You're on a low level of awareness. See, you can't get to 1 million if you're on a $50,000 level of awareness because you're not setting a goal of 1 million. That makes sense, guys? So goal setting. Lesson two is called the knowing doing gap. And there's a science behind this. It's the difference between having a dream in your conscious mind and getting it into your subconscious mind through repetition to cause your body to move into action. As soon as I understood this, guys, 3 weeks in, I closed my first $2.5 million deal. All right? Now, I'm not saying that to impress you. I'm saying it to impress upon you. If I can do it, anybody can do it, I promise you. And we have case study after case study after case study, right? There's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. That's why our company is called the Matrix Success Network, because you're all in the matrix and we have the red pill. All right, guys? Lesson 3 is your infinite mind. Guys, you were born infinite. I was born infinite. What happened is we got programmed by a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have the manual. They said, you got to get a job. You got to think like this. Don't do that. Don't do this, right? Layer by layer by layer, limitation, 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 limitation. And it's not their fault, but you were born infinite. You weren't born with fear. People aren't born with PTSD, right? And if you're born in poverty, unfortunately, that environment tends to take control. But I've seen I've seen just countless cases, right? Think about this one. 3 out of 4 millionaires, self-made millionaires in the United States are immigrants, impoverished immigrants that come to this country because they were programmed in their country that if I can get to America, I'm going to be a millionaire. Let that one sink in. All right, guys? Lesson 4 is all about your inner potential, limitless inner potential. Guys, if you ever say that you don't have energy, excuse me, you're advertising your ignorance. And I don't mean that in a bad way. We have more energy in our hand, 1 pound of flesh. There's over 11 million kilowatts of potential energy stored in the hydrogen atoms of your body, enough to light a small city. Guys, you don't get energy, you are energy. You are energy. I could do seminars for days. This is how Bob is 86 years old in July, and he's still tromping all over the world, jetting around, doing seminars. Like, he blows people's mind with his energy. But that's because he's aware. You don't get energy, you are energy. All right, guys? Now, lesson 5 is about environment. We have this virus going on right now. Most people are in a reactive state, right? There's certain people like myself and people that are aware. We're not reacting. I'm in a responsive state. I just said, okay, that makes sense to me. I'm going to shut down my construction company and I'm going to grow my network marketing company because it's a home-based business and everybody's at home, right? And I'm going to grow my consulting company because everybody's looking for information, and my software company because it goes hand in hand with both of those, right? And again, I don't say this to impress you. It's just I'm in a responsive state. It doesn't matter what's going on in the environment. Lesson 5 teaches you exactly how to think like this. All right, lesson 6 is on self-image and leadership, right? You can't get to $100,000 a month if you don't have the self-image of a $100,000 a month earner. Lesson 7 is overcoming fear and procrastination. We went deep into that here, but you're not going to catch it in a 1-hour webinar, guys. I promise you. You need the repetition. You need the mentorship. You need the program. You need to get in a community of like-minded people that understand this stuff for a reasonable period of time. That's why our program is 6 months and not 3 days. It's also why most seminars and webinars are largely ineffective. Right? I can pique your interest here, but I can't shift your paradigm here. You're going to have to make a decision to do that one. All right, guys? Now, lesson 8 is all about praxis, and praxis is aligning belief and behavior. And I love this little guy here. Take a look at this picture. A picture's worth 1,000 words. This could be you wanting to make a quantum leap. You're in your little fish bowl, and you can't see the other fish bowl. Think of the fish being in the bowl before it ejected itself out of the bowl. It had to look over there and say, man, I don't know what that is, but it looks better, it's bigger, and it just took a leap of faith. That's exactly what you're going to have to do here. There's no shortcuts here, guys. You're probably going to want to vomit when you do it, but you got to push forward, right? You got to align your beliefs with your behavior. If you want to get to 6 figures a month, you got to act like a 6-figure a month person and invest in yourself. You got to invest time, money, got to get a mentor, got to follow a system. No shortcuts. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in my education, which is why we're moving towards a direction of multiple billions. That makes sense, guys? And this is not my opinion. Everybody has mentors. Anybody that succeeds at a high level has mentors. All right, lesson 9 in the 6 months is attitude and perspective. And your attitude right now shapes your universe. Viktor Frankl was a Viennese psychiatrist, went through the Holocaust as a prisoner of war. And he wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. He knew, because he understood this material that we teach, that nobody can change your mind. Nobody can affect your mind. They can affect your body. They can beat you. They can starve you. They can do all kinds of things to your body, but they cannot shift your attitude unless you let them. All right, guys? If somebody cuts you off in traffic, if you're somebody that reacts and flips them off and beeps your horn, it's because you're completely at a loss of controlling your mind. Right? You have brakes. You have a steering wheel. Be calm. Turn the wheel. Hit the brakes. Getting angry, that's you. It doesn't even affect the other person. So attitude is very, very important. Perspective is everything. There's certain people that went right through the Great Depression and they became millionaires and billionaires because they understood this stuff. All right, guys, lesson 10 is the fact that you are the most valuable person. You are the most valuable person in the universe. People are going through their life extras in their own movie, right? You're in a business and you're seeing somebody crush it. It's like, man, I wish I could do that. Well, here's a news flash. You can do that, but it starts with decision, all right? If anybody can do something, you can do it. We're the same. We're the same. If my daughter can get to 6 figures a month through multiple revenue sources at age 23, then you can certainly do it. You just got to make a decision that you want to. And guys, again, it's not all about the money. If you want to build a global charity, ask my friend Cynthia Kersey, right? She has a global charity. They've raised millions, maybe even over $100 million. I think it probably is, hundreds of millions. And she started with nothing but an idea. All right, guys, so it doesn't matter what you want to do. You got to understand that you're the most valuable person, and that's what Lesson 10 does. Lesson 11 is on the impression of increase, and I'll just say this one thing, that Jesus understood this lesson. I'll leave it at that. Leaving people better off than you found them, even if there's no personal gain. It's a heavenly way to live, guys. And Lesson 12 is on the mastermind principles. This is my software company. This is my gaming company. This is my network marketing company that we're blowing up all over the place. It's a mastermind, right? It's being able to transmit your idea through the transmutation of energy, step up the vibration, and get it into other people's heads. This is the Henry Ford principle, all right, guys? And this is the 12 lessons in thinking and a result. So what I want to say to you guys, right now there should be a link in the chat of the watch party that you're watching. Now, guys, there's no sales pitch here. All we're doing is saying get with the person who invited you to this, book a strategy session with them, talk to somebody. See, I don't know where you guys are at. You're all over the world right now, and there's probably over 50,000 people watching this. I don't know where you're specifically at, but you can book a strategy session with me or my team or any one of the people all over the world that invited you to this webinar, and they can figure out, they can ask you a series of questions and figure out exactly where you're at. What are your pain points? What are you struggling with? Where do you want to go? Do you even know where you want to go? That's the biggest thing. And are you even aware of what you are? They can hold your hand through this process. And I promise you, they will leave you better off than they found you, whether you decide to work with them or not. All right, guys, this is not a sales pitch. This is us reaching out, impacting the world. And I want you to imagine for a minute, either way you're going to make a decision. You're either going to get done this webinar, go watch TV and watch Netflix, or you're going to book a strategy session. It's going to be a choice, but I want you to imagine. Imagine you push through the terror barrier. Imagine you book the call. Imagine you work with one of my teammates all over the world here. Imagine you go through the course, you raise your vibration, you raise your income, right? You take control of your body. You start to build a body that's more towards what you want. You raise your awareness. You increase your relationships, right? You have some understanding. You don't argue anymore. You lose stress. You don't have anxiety anymore. You understand what faith is. You understand that fear and faith are a choice. And that if you have anxiety, you can choose not to. Guys, type a 1 in the chat if you'd like to stop having anxiety. And would that alone be worth it? Think about it. Never mind the money. The money's fine. Think about your health, anxiety. What would it feel like to never have anxiety again? Think about these things. I want you to imagine your life 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 2 years from now, because you watched this webinar, you clicked on a link and you booked a strategy session that changed your entire life. Think about this, guys. What we're talking about is not the law of opinion. It's the law of magnetism. You get a goal, you have an idea, call it a dream. A dream is a collection of thoughts, and thoughts are impulses. You got to get that goal from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind. It sets up a vibration in your body, and your body takes action. And when your body takes action, you're in a higher vibration. You start to attract the people, the places, the things into your life, the dreams. This is not opinion, this is physics. And I'll hit you another way with this stuff. You are a magnet. You just might not be attracting what you want in your life right now. There's a reason why depressed people hang out with each other. They're attracted to each other on a low vibration. There's also a reason why billionaires hang out with each other, because they're attracted at a high vibration. And neither one of those is good or bad. It's just, where do you want to be? It's just a choice. Think about that, right? It's not the law of opinion. It's the law of magnetism. So anytime you hear the law of attraction, substitute magnetism. It's the law of magnetism which responds to vibration just like the acorn. So if you want to attract these things in your life, you have to step up your vibration. We do that through study of certain materials over a reasonable period of time and by hiring a mentor. All right, guys. So again, here you are again, electromagnetic being, and you're attracting, right? Take a look at this. You are a magnet. That's not my opinion. You're an electromagnetic being. You attract everything that's in your life. Whether you realize it or not is just a matter of awareness, but it's not a matter of opinion. All right, guys? So whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you are correct. Let that one sink in. If you're like, oh, this is fine, but I can't do that, you're correct. But if you're like, you know what, that makes sense. That makes sense. These are universal laws. These are not man-made laws, so man cannot change them. The information in Henry Ford's mind is exactly what we teach in Thinking into Results, right? Warren Buffett, the way this man thinks and acts and operates is exactly what we teach in Thinking into Results. And the people that invited you to this webinar are certified coaches of this material all over the world. Even this guy here, Grant Cardone, this guy has advertised his ignorance. He's been on national TV and he says the law of attraction is bullshit, which is hilarious because it's physics. Now, Grant Cardone is what we call an unconscious competent. And he was fairly broke up until his mid-40s. He had a pretty chaotic life, in and out of drugs, and I think even prison time. But think about this. What happened with him is he had a paradigm shift caused by a traumatic incident in his mid-40s. He then stepped up his vibration. He supersaturated his mind. Enough is enough. I'm sick of being broke. I'm sick of the people I've been hanging around with, the drugs and the crime. And he had a paradigm shift, stepped up his vibration, says, I am going to crush real estate or die trying. What he's doing is raising his vibration. Then 1 deal, 2 deals, 3 deals, people. All of a sudden he's got his wife in his life, right? Now he doesn't realize what this is because he's ignorant about the mind, but he's very, very aware in real estate. And the information in this man's brain is exactly what we teach into Thinking into Results. Same with these 2 guys here, this Grant again, but same if you're in network marketing, it's not rocket science, it's physics. You too can get to 6 or 7 figures in network marketing, just like all my clients do, with a given period of time, stepping up your vibration and studying Thinking into Results. All right, guys, in 85 years, Bob has never seen anyone achieve success at a high level without a mentor and a proven system. I'm going to say that one again. Think about this one. Bob has been teaching and coaching and training for 6 decades, millions of people all over the world. And in 85 years, he's never met anyone that succeeded at a high level without a mentor, which is a human being, and a proven system. We are giving you the proven system called Thinking into Results, and the human being is the one that invited you to this chat. These are my business partners. These are my friends and colleagues. They can hold your hand through this content if you book a strategy session. All right, guys. Again, so we don't do this without mentors. Not Grant, not Alex, not without mentors. They all had mentors. Not me, right? I don't learn this stuff without mentors. Not Bob. Bob has had 7 major influences, major mentors over a period of 6 decades in his life. And even Warren Buffett had Benjamin Graham as a mentor. So guys, if you need a mentor to walk, why wouldn't you think you need a mentor to figure some of this other stuff out? Think about it. You never would have learned to speak without a mentor. And even Jesus himself has a mentor. I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole nother webinar. But everybody needs mentors, guys. It's the human experience. And that's what we're here to do with you guys tonight, right? So Bob and myself and my fellow coaches around the world, we have a proven system that will move you towards what you want. Think about that. It'll move you from where you are to where you want. You just got to type in the chat or click on a link or get with the person, do a DM, whatever you got to do, get with the person who brought you and just have a conversation. If you don't like where the conversation goes, you don't have to do anything else, but have the conversation, guys. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. But I actually have another definition for insanity. And the definition of insanity is listening to this webinar and then not booking a strategy session. All right, guys? So get with the person who invited you. I promise you they can hold your hand. They can leave you better off than they found you. If you're watching this on my webinar, get with one of my sales teams. They're coaches too. We can help you guys. We can hold your hands. And guys, that's my time here tonight from all over the world. I know we had countries, all over the world. I want to sincerely thank you for your time because it's just as valuable as mine. Hopefully you got some value out of this. Make it a great night. Be well, and God bless.